Tensura x Villainess by Rimu-chi. The scenery stretched endlessly, a floating island suspended in a star-swept cosmos. Ethereal galaxies shimmered in the distance like painted lights across a dreamscape, their celestial glow illuminating the vast, grassy field Rimuru had crafted. Flowers that didn't exist in any world bloomed in slow waves across the ground, responding to his mood. A lake glowed nearby, reflecting the starry sky above like a mirror between realms. In the middle of this divine canvas, Rimuru and Yumilia sat beneath a silverleaf tree that glowed softly in the moonless void. A picnic cloth spread out with golden trim, hosting delicate plates of tempest cuisine, made by none other than Shuna herself. They had just finished their meal. Roasted monster meat wrapped in honeyed spice leaves, cream-filled fruits, and shimmering sweets that sparkled like magic crystals. Yumilia, always composed, now looked slightly unsure. She brushed a strand of black hair behind her ear and gently rested her hands on her lap. Her cold violet eyes observed her surroundings carefully, but she couldn't hide the awe brimming underneath. Rimuru-san, she finally said softly, "What is this place?" Rimuru leaned back on his palms, a mischievous glint dancing in his eyes. "This. Oh, it's just my imaginary space. I can create anything I like here. Planets, universes, whole worlds. It doesn't really matter." Yumilia turned her head sharply toward him, her usual stoic expression cracking. "You created this entire space." Her tone wavered, clearly shaken. He said casually, then grinned. "But let's set that aside for now. I wanted to ask you something." He leaned forward, his playful tone sharpening just slightly. "What do you think of our first date? And do you have the answer for my confio?" She narrowed her eyes. "Is that what this is? You sound disappointed, Yumichan," he teased. Yumilia deadpanned. "You kissing me in front of everyone in class yesterday to embarrass me for confess." "Hey, don't say it like that." Rimuru threw up his hands. "I held that in for a long time, alright. I finally made my move." He sighed and leaned closer again, his blue eyes reflecting the stars above. "Geez, you're like Seal sometimes. So serious." Yumilia blinked. "Seal?" He raised an eyebrow, a knowing smile curling his lips. "Oi, didn't I say I'd explain everything to you? Alright, we'll start with her then." A sudden light shimmered behind him, blue and radiant. From it stepped a woman of transcendent beauty. Her hair flowed like silk spun from moonlight, dyed in the purest shade of blue. Crimson eyes like warm rubies shone with boundless knowledge and a mischievous spark. Her presence was serene yet overpowering, like a goddess stepping into mortal lands. She gently wrapped her arms around Rimuru's neck from behind, resting her chin on his shoulder. "Hello, Yumilia Darkness," she purred. Yumilia nodded slowly, lips parting slightly. "So, you're Seal." Seal smiled playfully. "Indeed. Now, what would you like to know about me?" Yumilia didn't hesitate. "What are you to Rimuru-san?" Rimuru blinked, caught off guard, but Seal merely chuckled. With one smooth motion, she kissed Rimuru's cheek and said with a teasing smirk, "I'm his first wife." Yumilia's eyes widened, her composed mask nearly cracking. A small twitch appeared on her brow as her lips parted, then closed, then parted again. Her heart stung in a way she wasn't used to. She knew Seal was close to Rimuru, she herself saw that, but to be his first wife. "I see," Yumilia muttered, casting her gaze away. Rimuru rubbed the back of his neck, slightly flustered. "Well, it's true. But that doesn't mean I can't have more, right?" "What do you mean?" Yumilia asked cautiously. Seal stepped back with an amused look as Rimuru stood and walked toward Yumilia. Her breath caught when he knelt on one knee before her, holding out a small ornate box. When it opened, a ring shimmered with divine light, crafted from stardust silver and engraved with arcane runes only Rimuru could make. "Yumichan," he said seriously, voice smooth but heartfelt, "will you be my wife, just like Seal and Serafina? I promise to keep you happy, forever." Yumilia froze. Her eyes widened as her breath hitched. Her lips parted to speak but no words came out. A blush, deep and red, spread across her pale cheeks as her heart thundered in her chest. She looked down at the ring, then at Rimuru, her hands trembling slightly. She tried to speak, but all she could manage was a faint gasp. Behind them, another figure approached quietly. Serafina. She stood beside Seal with a radiant smile, golden eyes sparkling. Go ahead, Lady Eumelia, she said softly. Give him your answer. Eumelia's blush deepened. She looked between the two women. Seal with her serene, teasing smile and Serafina with that gentle encouragement. Then she muttered, but, I thought a man could only have one or two wives. Rimuru chuckled. That's true, for nobles are normal citizens. What do you mean? Eumelia asked hesitantly. Before Rimuru could answer, the air rippled. A group of powerful auras emerged. Testarossa, Ultima, Carrera, Rain, and Diablo returned, each elegant and proud. Carrera strode forward with a cocky grin. Rimuru-sama is a king, you know. Diablo, ever the devoted one, bowed deeply with glittering eyes. No, our Lord Rimuru is a god. One who is worshipped by countless realms. He can have as many wives as he desires. Testarossa placed a hand on her hip and smiled. A king's right, especially for one like him. Ultima spun playfully in the air, giggling. So hurry up and say yes. Rain, meanwhile, pulled out her sketchpad with a fangirl's madness in her eyes. Just kiss already. I need to add this one to my collection. I've already got Sealsama and Serafina's perfect moments, now I just need yours. Serafina smirked, folding her arms. I better see mine framed. Rain winked. Already done, Lady Serafina. Eumelia was beyond red now. Her voice wavered, trying to form words, but nothing coherent came out. Her heart screamed, her thoughts scrambled, and yet, beneath it all, she was happy. So very happy. Rimuru looked into her eyes. Do you need more time? Eumelia closed her eyes for a moment, took a deep breath, and then opened them with calm, her cold expression fading completely. Number. I accept, she said softly. I want to be your wife, Rimuru-san. It's just hard for me to get the right words out. Rimuru smiled, his expression warm, real, and tender. He slid the ring onto her finger gently, then cupped her cheek and leaned in. Eumelia closed her eyes. Their lips met. A soft, lingering kiss beneath the stars. Diablo cheered with tears in his eyes. A divine union. As expected of Rimuru-sama. Testarossa smiled with elegance. Perfectly handled. Ultima squealed. Ah, so romantic. Carrera whistled. Damn, smooth as ever. Serafina folded her arms and muttered, looks like I've got a rival now. And Seal, she just smiled. Warmly. Rain, meanwhile, frantically sketched the kiss like a possessed artist. Yes. Perfect. The angle. The lighting. Ah. When they pulled apart, Rimuru whispered, you're mine now, Yume-chan. Eumelia looked up, cheeks pink, and whispered back, I always was, I just didn't say it. Before either of them could speak, a voice rang out, sharp, teasing, and strangely excited. Ah, that one was absolutely beautiful. Rain beamed, her hands moving at lightning speed as she sketched furiously into her magical pepper. Fluttering around her like wings. Her eyes glinted with manic glee, fangs slightly poking past her smile. A perfect angle, perfect lighting, and the emotions, I could eat it. That makes 3 now. She proudly flipped open the previous pages. One showcased Rimuru and Seal, their kiss caught in soft, serene tones like a dream captured in ink. The next was a much more seductive and heated depiction of Rimuru and Serafina, drawn with golden frames and swirling passion. And now, the sweet, innocent kiss of Master and Eumelia, delicious contrast. Eumelia's hands instantly flew to her face, covering it in sheer embarrassment, her ears glowing red. R. Rainson. Why are you even drawing those? Rain grinned like a predator. Because love should be immortalized, and also, your blushing face is just too cute. As Eumelia tried to shrink into the ground, Seal stepped forward with her ever-calm expression, her blue-silver hair flowing behind her like a river of light. She gave the girl a gentle smile, one hand elegantly placed on her chest. Do not be too overwhelmed, Eumelia. I am Master's first wife. It is natural that others would follow, but always keep in mind. She opened one eye, the gentleness replaced by a teasing glint, I am the first. That will never change. Indeed, Serafina added smoothly, stepping beside her with her radiant blue hair and confident posture, arms crossed beneath her ample chest. Lady Seal is right. I am second. So that makes you third, Lady Eumelia. Why are you numbering it like that? Eumelia stammered, her eyes darting between them as she stood helplessly. Rimuru let out a sigh, rubbing his temple with an awkward chuckle. Oi oi, come on now, don't keep score like that. That's not how we do things. I don't like numbering my wives, it makes it sound like rankings or priorities. But you do spoil me the most, master, Seal replied smoothly, her expression unreadable. Serafina's smile widened. True, but I get more kisses when no one's looking. Wah. Hey. Rimuru stumbled over his words as both Seal and Serafina leaned in, brushing his cheeks lightly with their fingertips while smirking at Eumelia, who could only stare at them like a deer caught in divine headlights. Eumelia, Seal purred, you'll get used to this teasing. It's how we show affection. Serafina nodded sagely. And besides, it's fun watching you get flustered. Eumelia looked like she was ready to faint on the spot, and Rimuru quickly raised his hand. Okay. That's enough flirting. Save it for later. He turned then, his gaze shifting to the figures standing nearby, watching with casual amusement and clear loyalty. Testarossa, Ultima, Carrera, Diablo, and Rain, the primordial five, awaited his command. All right, Rimuru said with a firm yet calm voice, the teasing nature gone as he shifted into command mode. I want you five to return to Tempest immediately. Make preparations. We'll be bringing 2 new queens. Testarossa gave a graceful bow, her red eyes calm and unwavering. Understood, Rimuru-sama. We shall prepare the capital accordingly. Ultima giggled and twirled a strand of her violet hair. Ooh, this is gonna be fun. I hope there's a banquet. Can I decorate with floating heads again? Absolutely not, Testarossa snapped gently, though she smiled. Carrera, who had been hopping excitedly in place, practically squealed. Wah, I can't wait. Do I get to blow something up? Or maybe throw fireworks? Or blow up the fireworks? Diablo stepped forward last, eyes gleaming with bliss. As you wish, my lord. I shall personally ensure every detail is perfect for your return. Ah, to serve you in this historic moment fills me with unparalleled joy. Rain gave a dramatic wink. I'll be sure to frame the moment you step into Tempest with your new queens. The expressions on the citizens' faces will be art. With a wave of his hand, Rimuru gave his blessing, and in a blink of light, the 5 primordials vanished like smoke into the wind. Once the space quieted again, Rimuru turned back toward Eumelia and smiled gently. Yume-chan, we'll head to my kingdom soon. But first, we'll go pick up your things from the academy, alright? Eumelia blinked, then tilted her head. Rimuru-san, your kingdom. You make it sound like it's in another world. He gave her a sheepish grin. That's because it is. Another world entirely. For a long second, Eumelia simply stared at him, then let out a long sigh and rubbed her temples. I guess surprises are normal now. You'll adapt faster than you think, Serafina offered, brushing a strand of hair behind Eumelia's ear. Seal nodded, her voice soft again. You're already changing, Eumelia. For the better. Then she turned to Rimuru and placed a hand over her chest. I'll return to your consciousness, master. Rimuru nodded once. Thanks, Seal. With a shimmering glow of ethereal light, Seal vanished, her presence dissolving into Rimuru's being, returning to her throne in his mind where she watched the world through his eyes. Rimuru took a deep breath, then turned to the remaining 2. All right then. Let's head back to the academy. Once we're done there, we're off to Tempest. Eumelia and Serafina gave firm nods. Rimuru extended both hands toward them. Without hesitation, Eumelia gently placed her hand in his right, and Serafina gripped his left. There was no flash, no explosion, just a quiet pulse of energy as reality bent around them. The stars above blinked, and the celestial island folded in on itself like a dream fading away. And then, in a heartbeat, they were gone. Meanwhile. The sky, despite the hour being barely past noon, had darkened into a churning canvas of shadow and crimson. Clouds thick with a hellish aura crawled across the heavens like slithering beasts, blotting out the sun and bathing the academy in an ominous twilight. High above, stretching across the horizon in eerie silence, floated a vast army of demonic entities. Their wings buzzed like insects, their eyes glowed with malice, and their twisted forms formed a living storm cloud. The weight of their presence was suffocating, and though not a single one had yet descended, their intent was clear: annihilation. Atop the highest spire of the academy, where the bell tower loomed over the entire campus, stood 2 figures. The wind howled around them, tossing their hair like threads of fate unraveling in a storm. Alicia, in her pristine academy uniform, stood near the edge of the tower, her hand tightly gripping the jagged black sword gifted to her by the demon woman Lyra. Its blade pulsed with a dark, living light, as though feeding on the malice in the air. Beside her stood Ilaria, her smile sharp and cold, her eyes filled with unsuppressed glee at the chaos to come. Suddenly, the old wooden door behind them burst open with a bang, slamming against the stone wall. 3 figures stepped onto the rooftop, unaware of the blood that was about to stain this sanctuary. Alicia, you're here. Oswald blinked in confusion, adjusting the shoulder of his uniform. Boy, ever the realist, felt a shiver crawl down his spine but ignored it. William, the broad-shouldered and somewhat dense swordsman, stepped forward, hands clenched. What are you two doing up here? Can't you see? The demons, they're coming. This isn't the time to stargaze. Edwin, with his regal presence and curls tousled by the wind, moved quickly toward them. Let's get you both somewhere safe. We can't risk anyone. But he stopped mid-sentence as Alicia turned to face him, her eyes wide with feigned fear, her voice trembling like a broken bird. Prince Edwin, please, help me. I can't control myself. Edwin blinked, his expression softening as he stepped closer and reached out to steady her. What happened? Did the demons put a spell on you? Tell me, Alicia. He was close now, holding her gently, but then, a sharp, searing pain bloomed in his stomach. His mouth opened, but no sound came out as he looked down to see the black sword buried deep in his gut, the edges smoking slightly as if it were burning him from the inside out. His wide eyes slowly turned back to Alicia's smiling face. She leaned in, lips brushing his ear, and whispered with velvet cruelty. Be a good boy, and die. With a sickening sound, she yanked the blade free. Blood sprayed from his mouth as Edwin crumpled forward, lifeless before he hit the cold stone floor. Prince Edwin. Oswald and William shouted in unison, their voices choked with shock. William, his fists trembling, took a step forward. Why, Alicia, why did you do that? Alicia turned to him, her expression morphing in an instant into that of the sweet, sorrowful girl they thought they knew. Tears welled in her eyes, voice cracking with false remorse. I didn't mean to. This sword, it's controlling me. Please, run before it makes me hurt you too. But William, ever the emotional fool, charged toward her, gripping her shoulders. No, I won't run. I'll help you fight it. Alicia laughed, sweetly at first, then twisted with wicked glee. You're such an idiot, she said, before plunging the blade directly into his heart. Blood bloomed across his chest like a flower in spring. You really believed me. His body dropped beside Edwin's, heavy and broken, as Alicia stepped back, wiping blood from her lips like lipstick. Oswald staggered, backing away. Why you're not Alicia. What are you? Oh dear Oswald, Alicia cooed mockingly, dragging the tip of the sword against the stone. You never really knew me. None of you did. You and your little prince, and that muscle-brained fool, fooled by my charming, kind-hearted act. So easy to wrap around my finger. No, that can't be. But before another word could leave him, a knife slid across his throat with such precision it didn't even bleed at first. Ilaria appeared behind him, a cruel smirk on her face as she pushed him to the floor, watching the light drain from his eyes. You were taking your time, she said, glancing at Alicia. Playing with your prey. It's fun that way, Alicia answered with a soft chuckle. Don't you think? Ilaria cleared the blood out from her fingers. I prefer torture. Watching them squirm until they break. But I suppose it's all the same in the end. The two girls stood above the bodies, surrounded by death and crimson wind. The chaos above mirrored the madness in their hearts. Shall we prepare for Eumalia's return? Ilaria asked, stepping over Edwin's corpse. Alicia's smile widened. I'm always ready. And it looks like Lyra was right. This sword, it doesn't just kill. It erases the soul. Edwin's gone completely. His body is perfect, untouched and hollow. Lyra needs a body unharmed, huh? Ilaria said, her eyes flashing. So Eumalia will become a vassal for Lyra's master. Exactly, Alicia whispered, eyes glowing with madness. Though I've never seen or heard of that, master. I don't care either way. Let them have Eumalia. I'll take my revenge. And I'll make Rimuru mine, Ilaria hissed, her voice filled with obsession. I'll shatter him. Turn him into my perfect little slave. You'll get your toy soon enough, Alicia said, her voice distant as she raised the cursed sword high into the air. And I'll get the satisfaction of destroying the life they built. No more sweet Alicia. No more smiles. No more pretending. She slashed the blade down in a wide arc, and with that motion, the skies answered. The demon army stirred, and with a monstrous roar that shook the heavens, they dove downward like a living avalanche of wings and fangs, descending upon the academy with apocalyptic fury. And thus, the massacre began. The sky had turned into a swirling ocean of shadows, its inky darkness blotting out the midday sun as if the heavens themselves recoiled in horror. Thunder rumbled overhead, yet no rain fell, only an unnatural pressure that weighed upon the world like a final breath before death. And from that storm of darkness, they descended. The demon army. Thousands of them poured from the sky like a torrent of malevolent stars, their forms beautiful yet horrifying. Human-like in shape, they bore exquisite features and glowing, unnatural eyes, but grotesque details betrayed their nature. Curled horns adorned their heads, bat-like wings stretched from their backs, and some bore reptilian tails that whipped through the air as they fell upon the unsuspecting world. Their skin shimmered in shades of lavender, obsidian, crimson, and sapphire. Their armor, if they wore any at all, glinted like polished obsidian under the twisted sky. The Academy of Arkvale was the first to feel their wrath. Students had gathered in panic, staring at the sky, frozen by fear and confusion. And then the screaming began. Demons landed like thunderbolts, crashing through the towers and roofs of the academy. One elegant, six-winged demon woman, her skin silverblue and her eyes like molten gold, swept through a cluster of students, her claws slicing effortlessly. Blood sprayed across marble walls as students fell like wheat to a scythe. A teacher raised his staff, trying to cast a barrier, but before the spell could take form, a spear pierced his chest, lifted him off the ground, and nailed him to the wall. Another demon, with long black hair and four twisted horns, laughed as he hurled a fireball the size of a carriage into a study hall. The windows exploded outward, flames consuming dozens of terrified teenagers in a matter of seconds. The scent of burning wood and flesh filled the corridors as smoke curled up into the sky, signaling the kingdom's fall had begun. And the academy was only the beginning. The demon army surged across the city like a plague. Shops burned, homes crumbled, and people screamed for help that would never come. The royal knights fought valiantly, but their blades and magic barely slowed the tide. A demon with crimson skin and a jagged tail tore through an entire battalion, laughing madly as he danced among corpses, his body covered in blood and glittering like a jewel. Nobles fled into their estates only to be hunted down like animals. Families clung together, whispering prayers that went unanswered. Churches, temples, all sacred grounds were defiled, their altars overturned and priests slaughtered with cruel grins. Above this carnage, high atop the spire of the academy, stood Alicia and Ilaria. Alicia's dress flapped in the wind, her hair catching the flickering glow of the fires below. The cursed sword Lyra had given her was held loosely in her gloved hand, its dark blade pulsing faintly with the souls it had consumed. Beside her, Ilaria stood regal and composed, her emerald eyes scanning the chaos with a serenity that bordered on delight. Beautiful, isn't it? Alicia said, her voice calm as she watched the massacre unfold. Like a painting made from blood and smoke. Ilaria smiled faintly, her hands clasped before her. It is necessary. Chaos brings rebirth. This kingdom, this world has grown soft. Suddenly, the air behind them shimmered. A ripple, like a drop of ink in water, twisted into the form of a woman. She appeared with slow grace, tall, with flowing black hair that reached her waist and piercing purple eyes that glowed in the darkness. Her skin was pale as moonlight, and the aura around her was suffocating, pressing against reality itself. Lyra had returned. Alicia turned with a respectful smile. Welcome back, Lyra. Lyra's gaze flicked past her to the distant mountains, where no sign of Rimuru or Yumilia could yet be seen. They haven't returned yet. Ilaria shook her head slightly. No sign. But we will do our part. You have nothing to fear. Lyra's eyes narrowed. It is better that both sides fail than for you to hesitate. My master is nearing this realm. He seeks a perfect vassal. The girl, Yumilia, must be delivered. Use the sword. Alicia raised the cursed blade and nodded. You don't need to worry. I won't hesitate. Good. With that, Lyra dissolved into shadows once more, her presence vanishing as if she had never been. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the academy, fear reigned. Within Eleonora's dorm, 3 young girls huddled in terror. Eleonora, her normally bright eyes wide with dread, pressed herself against the wall of the closet, her friends clinging to her arms. They had blocked the door, turned off the lights, done everything they could to remain hidden. But it was not enough. The door burst open with a thunderous crash. A demon girl sauntered in, her green hair wild and unkempt, her red eyes glowing like coals. Her black wings stretched out, brushing the walls, and her laughter echoed through the room like the chime of broken bells. "Where are you hiding, little mice?" she sang, dragging her claws along the desk, leaving gouges in the wood. Come out, come out. I promise to make it quick." Her eyes landed on the closet. With a grin, she crossed the room and tore the doors open. Eleonora screamed. "Please, don't." Her friend begged. "We're just students. We haven't done anything." The demon only laughed harder. "That's the fun part." She raised her clawed hand, preparing to slash. And then her head dropped to the floor. It rolled a few inches, blood pouring from the stump of her neck, and her body collapsed a moment later. The girls gasped, frozen. From the doorway, a voice spoke. "Are you 3 all right?" They looked up, eyes wide. A shadow stood in the doorway, framed by firelight and smoke. The air around them rippled with raw power. Hope returned, if only for a moment. From the shadow cast by the burning corridor, 3 figures stepped into the light. Rimuru, Eumelia, and Serafina. Their presence seemed to part the smoke like a divine command, the suffocating heat retreating from the overwhelming pressure that followed them. Eumelia's black hair shimmered with magical energy, her dark eyes wide with concern. Rimuru, dressed casually as if the massacre hadn't disturbed him at all, wore a calm but unsettlingly sharp expression. Serafina, ever elegant, moved with predatory grace, her golden eyes surveying the carnage with quiet fury. Eumelia took a step forward, her voice soft but clear. "Eleonora, are you 3 all right?" The 3 girls huddled in the closet didn't answer with words. The moment they recognized Eumelia's voice, all 3 bolted forward, throwing themselves into her arms with trembling sobs. Eleonora buried her face into Eumelia's shoulder, while the other 2 clung to her sides, crying and stammering thank yous through their panic. Rimuru glanced at the scene with faint amusement and then tilted his head toward Eleonora. "I take Yumichen on a single date, and the moment we return, there's a demon army raising the kingdom." He narrowed his eyes slightly. "You wouldn't happen to know what happened, would you?" Eleonora quickly shook her head, her voice trembling. We were just doing normal things, and then everything fell apart." "I don't know anything." Rimuru smiled coldly. "I figured as much." He turned toward Serafina. "Take Eleonora and her friends to Tempest. Eumelia and I will handle this." Serafina bowed her head gracefully. "As you wish, darling." Then, she looked at the girls. "All of you, take my hand, now." Still trembling, Eleonora and the other 2 girls grabbed her hands. With a soft glow of magic and a shimmering flash of light, they vanished, teleported instantly to safety. Eumelia took a breath, her voice tense. "I have a feeling this is Alicia's doing." Rimuru's eyes narrowed slightly. "Are you sure?" 50. "No, 59% sure," she said. "She's correct," came CL's voice in Rimuru's mind, ever calm, ever efficient. "Alicia is involved. And Ilaria as well. TCH. That witch. I knew she was up to something," Rimuru muttered aloud. Eumelia tilted her head. "Rimuru-san. Seal just confirmed it. You were right. Ilaria's part of this too." Eumelia's expression darkened. "Then where are they now?" "Top of the academy building," Seal responded immediately. Rimuru gave a small nod. "Top of the academy. That's where they are." Eumelia's fists clenched. "Then let's go. Now." With a silent agreement, the 2 bolted from the ruined dormitory. The corridors of the once proud academy were now nothing more than halls of death and ash. Flames crackled in the distance, and the walls were scorched, the scent of burning flesh still heavy in the air. Their footsteps echoed like drums of judgment through the hallway as they sprinted toward the central staircase. A group of demons, twisted and shrieking, lunged from a side hall. 2 leapt at Rimuru, their claws aimed for his face. They didn't make it. Rimuru flicked a finger. Without so much as a ripple of visible effort, the two demons were sliced into ribbons, their bodies disintegrating into nothing as if they never existed. Yumilia leapt and drove her palm through a third demon's chest, a radiant burst of energy erupting from the point of impact. The demon shrieked and crumbled into smoke. A fourth one screeched and charged toward them. Rimuru didn't even look. The demon's body exploded into black mist as an invisible force crushed it midair. More demons appeared at the top of the stairs. This time, Rimuru vanished and reappeared behind them, his presence a blur of death. One by one, they fell. Pathetic, Rimuru muttered as he and Yumilia ascended the stairs, their pace never breaking. The top floor was in sight now. Wind howled through the shattered windows as the two burst onto the rooftop of the academy. The crimson sky stretched overhead, casting everything in a hellish glow. Flames licked the edges of the towers below, and from this vantage point, the kingdom's suffering was clear, streets soaked in blood, homes in ruin, and screams echoing from every direction. Standing at the edge of the rooftop, a gleaming knife in her hand, was Ilaria. Yumilia's voice rang out like a blade drawn in vengeance. Found you. Ilaria turned slowly, her dress fluttering in the smoke-choked wind. She wore a smile far too calm for the devastation surrounding her. Took you long enough, Sir Rimuru. Lady Yumilia, she greeted mockingly. Did you see it? The beautiful sight below. Blood, fire, smoke, death. It's like a symphony of despair. Rimuru narrowed his eyes. I knew you were up to something. Ilaria chuckled darkly. So you knew, yet ignored it. That's quite a foolish thing to do. Sir Rimuru. She stepped forward, her voice sultry and deranged. But, let's make a deal. Become mine, my pet, my slave, and I'll stop this massacre. I promise. She licked her lips and laughed. So, what do you say? Yumilia's voice cut like thunder. Don't you dare. Master. Behind Yumilia. Ciel's voice rang in his mind with sudden panic. Rimuru turned instantly, eyes wide, moving to shield her. But he was too late. Alicia had emerged from the shadows, the cursed sword in hand. With a single, fluid motion, she plunged it deep into Yumilia's back. The demonic blade tore through her heart. Yumilia gasped. Her eyes widened in shock. Blood spilled from her lips. Then, she fell. Rimuru caught her before she hit the ground, cradling her limp form in his arms. His expression twisted. Not in pain, but in something far deeper. Something monstrous. Yumilia. He screamed, his voice echoing across the skies, shaking the rooftop. Alicia stepped back, grinning with bloody delight. I did it. I actually did it. I killed the person I once was. Yumilia Dolkness. My former self. Rimuru didn't look at her. Didn't move. Didn't breathe. Ilaria walked up slowly, smirking. She knelt beside him, tilting her head. Poor Yumilia. Isn't it tragic? She whispered into his ear. Then, with a sinister smile, she clasped a silver slave collar around his neck. There. Now you're mine. Finally, I have what I always wanted. Rimuru, my obedient pet. Inside his mind, Rimuru's voice was quiet but absolute. Ciel, take Yumilia. Try to bring her back. Yes, my lord. Beginning soul extraction and recovery process now. Suddenly, Yumilia's body vanished in a flash of blue light, teleported into Rimuru's subspace. Ilaria froze. Alicia's smile faltered. What? Alicia stammered. Where did she go? That shouldn't be possible. Ilaria hissed. She was dead. I stabbed her heart. There's no magic that. Rimuru stood. Slowly. His eyes now glowing with a cold, inhuman light. You girls. His voice was low. A whisper. A storm. You just made the worst mistake of your entire existence. To be continued.